The Prem kicks off on Friday. Arsenal may be the champions elect. Perhaps some people think they are. Well, we'll talk about that today. But today, I thought we'd go a different kind of route to get into the conversations. Each of us picking something we don't want to see in this year's Premier League. Okay, and you've all given me your selections. Some later than others.
Like pulling teeth, you might say. Yeah.
Pardon?
I said like pulling teeth, you might say.
It could be that. Yeah, that I think I'd rather pull teeth actually. Go through this experience all over again. But for the YouTube audience, we've got some lovely glossy graphics here. Now, listen, we're going to try and squeeze all this into 30 minutes today or thereabouts for our YouTube show. Okay, then we'll just keep spurting off bullshit afterwards. But I want to get to our six points here within 30 minutes. All right, so let's have some brevity in today's show. So yeah, things we don't want to see in the Prem this season. Let's start with Mr. Daniel Wong.
Yeah. I am so tired of Chelsea fans whinging that I am actually now would like Chelsea to flourish this year so we don't have to hear the narrative of Todd Bowley spent all this money and they need to reset the team and fire managers. I just want them to be competitive in the top 5. And then what that will stop all of our Kerry Ryans and Dave Starkeys from being negative about Chelsea every single week, every single day, sending memes out about, hey, there's a big crowd with, like I just saw a meme with Freddie Mercury and the whole Africa Live Aid. And it was Chelsea warming up. And it was, I'm tired of the Chelsea narrative of too much money, not doing well. Let's change that because I'm sick of it. And if they don't do well, let's not talk about them. I don't want to talk about them if they're in 7th to 18th place or 20th place. So there you go.
Can we go back to the whole Freddie Mercury thing here?
They just because they were bringing in so many players and signing so many players. So it was like head coach talking to, that was the meme. It was like the head coach talking to the players because they had so many people on their squad right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I still don't get it, but I'll look it up.
Anyways, it was a meme and it was attached to Chelsea once again. So you don't
care about Chelsea being successful. You just don't want to
hear
the bullshit again.
I don't want to hear the bullshit.
The league and the storylines.
Yeah, because it takes up too much of the media space when other teams, you could be talking about other teams and others. That's what I don't like about it. Just because they are a high profile, great legacy, all of that. Their last few years have been shite, and I don't care anymore. Let them dribble down to the 3rd division. Go play Wrexham. Fuck off, Chelsea. Or play great because they're a young team, like Jimmy said. Jimmy's got some great analysis, and if they are in that space, then play great like you're supposed to. They just signed Cole Palmer to a longer. He just signed up again. They've got like
2 more years to 2033.
Yeah. It's amazing. Smart.
They're finding loopholes, aren't they? All the time. But I mean, they spent what is it? Another 200 million this summer. They've spent. There's talk about Victor Osimhen coming in now as well. We had fun last year around this time saying, Christ, look at Chelsea. Who are all these new players? But they've done it again. I don't know who these players are.
Yeah.
They've done it again. Can they be successful under Enzo Maresca? Is he the secret here? Is he the key to unlock the brilliance of what Chelsea can become? Because apparently Mauricio Pochettino wasn't.
Right. And the other thing is Chelsea flails during the season. They get more airtime than a Bournemouth or that's what bothers me is these teams are playing above themselves. They're playing great football, and we're talking about Chelsea under delivering every year. So fuck them. If they have to do well, or we don't talk about them. That's going to be our Footy Prime mandate.
But I don't think they go away. So I think they're in the headlines now because of this player hoarding approach where they're willing to shell out so much money, really lengthy contracts, kind of upsetting and disrupting the transfer market. Rory Smith was talking about it. He's like, it's either stupid or it's just going to be a disruptor within that whole cycle and within the teams where there's be no more players available because they'll all be at Chelsea. And there's a recklessness about it because then we're talking about it because they amass all these players, amass all these talent in a really random way without a plan for how it's going to get executed on the pitch. And then I think it's just a matter of time before the profitability and sustainability catches up to them. And then we're still talking about them because they're going to be docked points or there's going to be repercussions for this type of behavior by Bowley.
Jimmy,
No?
any thoughts on this?
Yeah. For me,
I thought those were good points, but
No,
They
No,
were.
great.
No, I thought Jimmy was going to talk.
they're good
Yeah.
points. Let's keep in mind, they went out to spend an awful lot of money. They brought in a lot of young players. It took a little bit of time to get together. They finished sixth in the league last year with a very, very young squad that took some time to gel and galvanize everybody together. And I thought the way that they played towards the end, they looked very, very good. Now they've brought in some more pieces to this big puzzle that they're putting together. They've shipped out a lot of players. They've got a lot of players that have gone out on loan. They do have a good squad. And I think under this manager, Maresca, I think he'll be able to get the best out of these young players. And I think they are going to be up there come the end of the season. I think they'll be better than sixth.
And then we're allowed to talk about them.
It's not like they were terrible last year. I thought they played some great football at times. Very good.
Yeah,
football.
yeah,
Now,
but
the reason why everybody talks about them is because of the money that they spent.
which
The
I'm
money
bored
that they
of.
spent.
Yes,
You're
which I'm bored of that conversation.
Right.
yeah, so Longer's
it's
point, you want
tired.
to talk about them because of the on pitch.
Yes.
You don't want to talk about them because of everything else, which to me seems exhausting. So I'm right there with you, Wonger.
Thank you, Dubs.
Why do we have so much faith in Maresca, right? He was a Pep's, assistant. I know that. Then he went to Leicester. That's his experience, right? As a head coach, got them promoted. Fair enough, but it was Leicester who should have been promoted. In fairness, they were too good for the championship. They shouldn't have gone down to begin with. We're putting a lot of faith in this guy to knit this team together. Whereas Pochettino, who by the way just got announced as the new US coach, we'll get into that next week, I'm sure. But that's a seasoned veteran coach. It took him half a season to get that team playing anything close to good football, and they were playing pretty good football by the end of the season. But they still canned him. Are we going to give this guy the same patience, or will he be another one that comes in for a few months and then gets jettisoned? I don't know.
I don't know either. And wasn't he signed to a 5-year deal? Something ridiculous, Maresca, when he got poached?
Probably, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's freaking nuts. The whole thing's crazy.
It's crazy.
I'm trying to find a picture here. Sorry, I'm kind of where is it? It's coming up now. It's loading up here. This is Chelsea's.
Your
That's
internet's
what you say
not
to
doing
Tony.
great.
It's coming up now.
Look at that squad. That's Chelsea's squad for this year.
That's about right.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, sorry, it's my internet doing some weird things.
No, that was mine. Sorry.
Oh, that's yours. Okay.
I apologize.
Okay. Yeah, for the audio audience, we just put up a picture of Chelsea's team photo, and there must be 400 people in there.
That's right. It's hard to keep track.
But yeah, listen, we know they've got the talent. Cole Palmer's going to be a storyline, isn't he? So much fun to watch. He really is. But we'll see. I get what you're saying, Wonger. I like it because it is boring, isn't it? Talking about Chelsea's.
Yes, because it's the same conversation. And to Dub's point too, it seems like a lack of direction, a lack of strategy, and so they just keep throwing money, which is fine. Do whatever you want, but it's the conversation week in, week out. And they would, if they didn't have the legacy of Chelsea, we wouldn't even be talking about it. It would be like a Wrexham conversation that is a marketing tool. That's what it would be. So there you go. There's what I don't want to see.
I like it. Let's move to our second thing we don't want to see. Dubs, it's you.
It's me.
Yeah.
That's my head. That's my bust,
It's
or above my unimpressive bust. But yes, it's basically my bust. So Yeah, I think it hasn't been since the 97-98 season that all three promoted teams have been relegated at the end of the season. So that was different last year. So we saw, again, the same three teams that were promoted in Luton, Sheffield, and Burnley go down. So I think I was talking about Chelsea as being kind of a disrupting that transfer market in the way that they're hoarding players. But I think when you look at the race and you look at the predictability, you look at the amount of money, the deep pockets that the big five or the big six have, maybe the more interesting race is what's happening at the bottom of the table. Who's going to stay up? And so I think this year you were talking about the dominance of a Leicester and how exciting that race was towards the end of the season. Like that campaign, it took them till the last couple of weeks, and much to Craig Forrest's chagrin, it was Leicester that came out on top. But Ipswich Town had a tremendous campaign themselves. And then it was Southampton who were able to dispatch of Leeds, I think at Wembley, 1-0. And so they're the last team to come up. So I'd like to see these teams who looked impressive in the championship in the way that they were playing. I think you look at under Kieran McKenna, the style of play, the quality and kind of keeping possession, the amount of goals, like just the offensive output and how exciting they were. I'd like to see them make their mark, and all three of them make their mark in the Premier League and hopefully be able to stay up, or at least kind of cause some teams, give them a little bit of panic or put them under pressure and create some exciting storylines towards the bottom of the table.
Wasn't it last year I think Forest was the team just above the drop zone, right, Jimmy? And they were, I think it's 32 points, the lowest
30.
ever to survive.
Yeah, 32 points. I mean, with Saints, Ipswich, and Leicester coming up, I don't think they're going to be as bad as what Sheffield United were last season, or Burnley. I think they'll be a lot more competitive, these three teams. That's for sure.
But I wanted to ask you, Jimmy, with Maresca going to Chelsea, what do you think about Steve Cooper and his chances, like given the fact that he was canned from Forest, and like how do you think he does now at the helm with Leicester?
I think he'll do very well with Leicester, and he's got a point to prove as well. I think there's still a lot of fans at Forest that were upset with him leaving. They didn't like the departure, and then he's at Leicester now, which is very, very close to Nottingham. So it is a rival. It's always a good match, Leicester and Forest. So I'm looking forward to that match when they come back to the City Ground with Steve Cooper. But he does have experience. He's a good manager. He knows what to do. He knows how to survive. He did it with Forest. He got them playing very good football, attractive football. He gets the fans engaged as well, and they fall in love with his team. So I think he'll do the exact same at Leicester.
I do have to say I'm disappointed to see Luton Town go down, just because we don't get to see Rob Edwards on the touchline anymore.
So sexist. We're not
No,
listen,
so
Rob
sexy.
Edwards, Steve Cooper.
Sexy.
I mean, even you guys have to agree that aesthetically, what's pleasing to the eye, Rob Edwards very high, Steve Cooper very low.
Dubs is also getting JP to dress up like Rob Edwards. It's kind of creepy. I've been seeing photos that she posts, and it's all like JP wearing all Rob Edwards outfits.
It's just a mask. It's just a Rob Edwards mask.
I did a segment years ago on The Score, like years ago, a tennis segment with a tennis journalist, and it was called Hot or Not. And we would go through, and you couldn't do it nowadays. We probably couldn't have done it those days, but no one was watching. And it was a little bit cringeworthy. It was Hot or Not. And Dubs would love that kind of stuff, right? Because she's sexist. Whereas imagine if we did like a women's preview, right? WSL. And we go, well, this girl's a hottie, but this one, I'm glad she's out. You know?
Not only that, if we did a Footy Prime Who'd You Rather, Dubs would be all over it, right? Her and her friends rating us badly.
Yeah. Brutal. But Leicester's interesting, right? You know, they lose some real talent, in particular Kinnan Dewsbury Hall, who's followed Maresca to Chelsea, right? So they've lost some talent. And listen, the guys coming in, I'm not going to pretend I know who these guys are, who's going to be a star. When I see a guy come from Brighton, I think, ooh, he could be tasty. And that's Facundo Bunanote in attacking mid. I don't know. It's hard to say, but you're right. it's very rare that all three teams go right back down again. Southampton's got a bit of money. They still benefiting from the parachute payments when they're in the league championship, just like Leicester, so they pop back up pretty quickly. And they are teams that, generally speaking, stick around for a while, right? So I like that one, Dubs. We don't want to see that again. I want some fresh blood, and let's see what happens.
Now that I know how the relegation works and the balloon payment that Craig explained to me 13 different times, because I keep forgetting, it really does interest me, though.
He explained it 13 different times, but I'm still going to call it the wrong name.
What's it called?
Parachute payment.
Didn't I say what that's called?
He said balloon payment.
Oh, balloon payment. It's parachute payment on the way down. That's right. But it's it does get me excited, though, about the teams trying, like, who's played it best. That's what's really interesting to me, to see whether a Luton Town, whether, that is what's really interesting to me. So it'll be, let's see if Luton can use that financial windfall on the way down to pop back up again, like Sharms does with Tony in the morning.
Only was that easy. Hey, Leicester, though.
That's Tony's balloon payment.
Leicester are also facing some financial challenges, right? That they could be in trouble as well. There was talk earlier this week about Leeds getting bumped from the Championship into the Prem if Leicester got relegated, which their finances are in such disarray. But I haven't heard anything the last couple of days, so it's interesting. All right, moving on. Number 3 on our things we don't want to see. Who was it? Was it me or was it? Oh, it's me.
It is you.
It's you.
Speaking of financial irregularities, I don't want to see Man City's court case hang over any particular title race. Now, they're going to hear this earlier in the season. It's announced this week. They're going to have that hearing, which could take as long as like 10 weeks. Oh, Christ, it's going to be boring. But if they're found guilty of the most serious charges, they could be relegated. Now, it's not going to happen. But let's say they get docked points. They're going to appeal it. It's not going to go away, is it? How awful would it be if it's a tight title race, which it should be again, I think, with Arsenal, Liverpool, of course. And if hanging over that as well, there could be a points deduction, but there might not be. That could really just, I don't know, paint this season with a really frustrating paintbrush. Couldn't it, Jimmy? You don't want to see that?
I don't want to see it. I actually mentioned it too on our chat that I don't want to see any points deductions halfway through a season. I think it's ridiculous. It kills everything. And I can only imagine what the players are thinking as well. When you're playing a season, all of a sudden halfway through, you're getting deducted 10 points or 12 points because of financial fair play. And it messes up the whole league. So I definitely don't want to see any points deduction this year.
Is City the favourite, though, regardless? I know they are the favourites, but they've won, 4 straight. This is uncharted territory, going for 5 straight. At some point, they're going to lose. It looks like that team's in certain key areas, they're getting a little bit older right now, although they brought some youth in. Is this the year that Arsenal can make up that extra point, Dubs, do you think, and make a real run and maybe, upset the old apple cart after 4 years?
I think it might be. I mean, last year we thought that they'd be able to do it, and they faltered again at the end. I think maybe finally this is the year. I mean, not Chelsea, but City proved to be in Pep, and then also the kind of that veteran leadership and the quality that they have, just unflappable, right? That no outside noise is going to disrupt what's happening internally. But it might be, where this investigation proves to be a little bit of a distraction. And then maybe Arsenal are able to capitalize on that. And then with Calafiori signing, I think that kind of gives them a boost, even though he was deployed more as a center back, like probably use him on the left, or at least that's what I've read, as a replacement for Zinchenko or whoever they were using out there. So I think that, the discussion last year, which plagued them in Arsenal, was like that lack of goal scoring. And like, who are they going to bring in as that number 9, and Jesus, like, perennially disappointing. I think that
it's Jesus.
Yeah, pardon me. That they have the collective kind of attacking fluency, that it didn't matter that they didn't have that focal point in the attack, that they were able to overcome that. So I really do like Arsenal's chances, and they definitely have the depth of squad to do it. And I think that they have the experience now and the youth and the consistency and the quality to be able to, hopefully, I think it would be good for the league. I don't want to see City win it a 5th time in a row. God, no, please don't let that happen. So I would love for it to be Liverpool, but I don't know if Slot can take this team there. But like early days, I think it looks good. I'm just kind of piggybacking on what Klopp has established. But yeah, I would love to see Arsenal do it this year.
Yeah, me as well. I think Arsenal will be the team that's going to do it. This is 2 years now. Well, 2 years in a row that they finished second. Last year it was actually the game at Villa that cost them the league, or the game against Villa at home where they lost 2-0. That's when it all kind of went a little bit pear-shaped for them, and they lost the Premier League. But I think now with the squad that they have, the brand of football that they're playing, the experience that they've gained over the last couple of years now, I think this is going to be the season where all that's going to come together, and I think they're going for the title, and I think they'll win it this year.
It's been a less exciting transfer window so far. And listen, it could change very, very quickly. Arsenal, like I said, just brought in Caliafore, right? They haven't brought in that number 9. If you remove Chelsea from the equation, and maybe United have brought a couple of players in recently, it's been a lot quieter. Now, is that because of the whole PSR situation? You look at Chelsea right now. I mean, it's a joke as far as Conor Gallagher might be, on the way out.
Atletico, right?
Yeah, and this is a homegrown player, academy kid. Trevor Chalobah as well, who are being forced out of the club because of the whole PSR situation, which shouldn't be the way that works, right? You should be rewarded for developing players. Those shouldn't be the guys being forced out, but that's what's happening right now. Arsenal, maybe they're not spending that much money because of that same reason, financials. Liverpool's been very quiet. Not one signing yet. Not one signing as Arne, let's call him Arnie Slot tries to figure out what his slot is. But can they make a big move and push the top 2? That's a big ask, isn't it, for a new manager? United, I think, will be a lot better this year. How much better? That's a question. De Ligt comes in yesterday. They got a new fullback. Wan-Bissaka's on the way out as well. But, there's still some holes in that team. It seems to me it's going to be a 2-horse race again here. And Arsenal came so close last year. If there's some noise around Man City, although they seem to always have noise around them, and they still find a way to win the last 20 games of the season and just pip it at the end. I don't know. I think I'm still picking City to win it. I am, but only just. I think it might be Pep's last year, though. He could be out. That could be something that weighs heavy on their shoulders, or he'll use it to galvanize them even further.
Especially if he did the Klopp and announced it mid-season, right? That could be interesting.
Who's going to replace Pep? I mean, them's some big shoes to fill.
The guy who looks like him, Ten Hag. He just slides in the ball. It's the more white version, the whiter version of it, the more pale.
Here's what's going to happen. No, Wonga. Here's what's going to happen is that he'll announce that he's leaving, and then the rumors about Arteta will begin, returning to Man City, and that will derail Arsenal. And
City, and then Liverpool slide in.
Boom.
Yes, Arms. High five. We're kind of nerds, but I love it.
I love it. We're going to all figure it out. Do you think Tottenham can make a move here under Big Ange? They brought in Solanke. They've been somewhat active in the window, but they were great to start the season. JC certainly thinks so. Could it be?
I don't know. I don't know. I like them because I like Son.
No chance.
But I think similar to say Brighton's campaign last year. I think you could argue a lot of the teams, just given how congested the fixtures and how demanding the schedule was, that a lot of teams were kind of bitten by that injury bug, I think. But Tottenham was hit particularly hard. Yes. So now under Ange Postecoglou, you get a player of Solanke's quality. It always still makes me think of the Slinky theme song. Everybody loves Solanke, but that's what comes in my head every time.
I like that.
But I loved him at Bournemouth, so I'm really excited to see what he does under Postecoglou, and I like that team. I guess reluctantly, but I love Postecoglou. I love that he, talks about high character individuals, and that being the difference sometimes between a really talented player that he's scouting or has got his eye on, is identifying. But if you meet that person and you have discussions about where they've been, their family, the company that they keep, he'd rather take a player who's not quite as talented, but is a high character individual. And like, that's what he wants in his locker room, in his dressing room. So I think he's really easy to root for. And by default, I think Tottenham is as well.
You know who might turn some real heads here is Aston Villa, who were great last year, and they've had a really good window. Amadou Onana comes in from Everton, who's been their best player for some time. Ian Maatson, who remember Euro, look a lot of potential there. And Ross Barkley from Luton, who had a resurgence last year as well. I really have a feeling about Villa, competing in that top 4 bracket once again. I think it's going to be fascinating, right? Although it's going to be difficult, back in Europe, of course, that can, as Jimmy knows, adds a lot of demands on teams, right? And when they haven't experienced it quite as much in recent years, they can focus on that maybe too much. But is Villa, Jimmy, are they in the dark horse category, or are there no dark horses because it's going to be City or Arsenal?
I mean, we had them as the dark horse last year, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Up and they got into a Champions League position. For me, I like the way that they play. They did bring in some good backups and extra players that are going to make this squad even stronger. But now it's going to be, it'll be interesting to see the maturity of the team as well. Because it's always great when you have a manager that comes in, wants to play a certain brand of football. Things are going your way. Now this season, you're going to have the Premier League, you got Champions League. There's a lot of football that's going to be played, and it's going to take a toll on these players. And do they have the maturity? Are they mature enough? Are they experienced enough that they can handle this? And I think it's going to be relatively tough for them to compete and win the league, simply because of the fact as well, they conceded 61 goals last year, same with Tottenham. And we talk about these teams trying to compete. That's way too many goals to concede if you want to be a contender to win a Premier League. So defensively, they've got to get a lot better than what they are now. And same with Tottenham, the exact same thing. And that's where Tottenham's struggles are going to be again for me, is defensively. They make too many mistakes.
All right, let's move on now. JC, what's our fourth thing we really don't want to see? Oh! George Costanza.
Sorry, that was I don't know what that was.
Just
so good.
Like
the
buy
nip
that
slip.
picture of Costanza on the couch, by the way. You can buy it in like full size for your front room. Yeah, and the socks. He's wearing
that guy was like 33 at that point in his life.
I think it rivals Charms. Remember you were talking about your Seinfeld shirt, and it's the portrait of Kramer?
Yeah.
And Tony was kind of giving it to you a little bit. And she's like, no one knows what that is anymore. But I feel like that still of George on the sofa, like definitely rivals the Kramer portrait.
Iconic, right?
Mm-hmm.
An iconic picture of George Costanza half naked. All right, Craig's not here as I mentioned, but we've got one for him anyway. And that is a manager switches clubs mid-season. Don't want to see it. Now, he's obviously an Ipswich fan. And when Chelsea fire Maresca, will the Kieran McKenna rumors begin again? We see it. We saw Graham Potter leave mid-season for Chelsea from Brighton. Remember, I hate that. I hate it, especially a smaller club who's doing really well under this bright young manager. And then I understand why they're lured over. Christ, money does talk, and there's only so many top jobs out there. I get why they're lured, but I just think it just kind of takes away from the integrity of the league when a big club comes and snaps up a younger manager from a smaller club mid-season. Longy, you're nodding. Are we in agreement?
I hate it, but I get it. I know why they're leaving. This is their chance. Plus, it's your chance. You've reached the pinnacle with that lower level club. Perhaps they could go down and you could have fucked up your entire opportunity, right? Like that's what's funny about it, is they went, hey, Graham Potter, you're killing it. Come on over here. But had that team dumped at the back end of the season, he wouldn't have had that opportunity. You don't like that word, dumped?
She dumped the back end. I mean, it's just like, okay.
I did eat hot chicken wings last night, so there's things on my mind.
I almost think, given the pyramid in England, there's so many teams. I mean, I think it's difficult with that manager carousel, right? It's difficult to hold a job. It's so unpredictable. You don't know how long you're going to be in that position. But in those 20 Premier League teams, I think if you're looking for a new manager, you want to sack somebody, you shouldn't be able to go and poach from somebody who's also in the Premier League with you. You should have to go to a lower tier if you want to poach somebody from a different team.
Or maybe, Dubs, it could be like the transfer window. You have to stick with that manager just the same way. And so if you only can fire him or get rid of him during a certain period, so that means, or her, yeah, but right now there's no hers either.
I think one in the lower divisions, maybe.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. In Germany, or is it in England?
No, in Germany.
Yeah. But maybe they treat it like that. Like, you can't, this is the team. It's kind of like, hey, this is the date you brought to the dance, and you have to stick with them.
Yeah.
For better or for worse until that transfer time.
Yeah, this is your dance card.
Yeah.
What if it's firing window? It's a firing window.
Yeah, firing window. Whatever you want to call it.
Be great.
So maybe we just made a new thing.
And
I love that
like
idea.
that guy from the Olympics.
Make it a live made-for-TV show.
Oh,
right. It's one night.
Yeah.
And you got the chance to hire and fire.
And all the coaches are there. It's like fucking Hunger Games. Premiere Hunger Games.
And the owners facing them. First up, Arsenal. No, we're keeping our tail off.
Yeah.
And then eventually it's going to be, Ipswich, McKenna, and like he's going to get the Black Rose. Sorry.
Oh.
You're out of here.
Plus the board that's up, like the Chiron, it shows their salary and what it will be. So it'll go tick, 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 tick.
Yes, with the sound effects for
That's
sure.
Right. It's
and
like,
maybe there's a talent portion.
Who wants to be a millionaire?
Either singing or acrobatics, juggling.
Yes.
Something
you
really
fight for your
inane.
job. You fight for your job. That's right.
Special skills. Yeah.
Great idea. Live cameras on the families back home watching.
Oh, yes.
It'd be great too if you ask a question, like, do you think you should be fired? And you're like, no. Why? Because the squad stinks and you didn't spend money on the players I wanted.
And then the clock starts and it counts down from 60 seconds. And then you have to do a tap dance routine. Go.
Maybe
Start
it takes
juggling,
place on a
clown.
yacht. But it should take place on a yacht.
Yeah.
Then Jimmy would watch.
I would definitely watch.
Especially if it had.
Here.
I think we are.
Mhm.
What is it when you
What
go
about-
get pushed out onto the boat?
Imagine even transfers, like have like a transfer night, like the NHL draft. They're all
Yeah.
there in one big room, right? And you got one night or a deadline of midnight, whenever it's going to be, to make your transfers. And there's all this action going on live TV. It'd be amazing.
Yeah. I think we
Yeah,
came
I'm
on.
wrong.
I think we pitched this to the Prem. So copyright. We're just copywriting it on Footy Prime right now, and trademarked.
No, you know what, Wonga? Let's start with the CPL. Mark Noonan. who
Yeah.
Listen to the show. Mark, we've got an idea. And we think it'll be really successful. Stick it on One Soccer. We'll host.
Mm,
Free Prime can host. All right.
you're right.
And I think it'd be incredible.
And
Firing night
Wonger
on
will
One Soccer.
Wonger will pose on the hosting couch the way that Costanza does.
Boxers and black socks only. This is a great idea. Okay.
I
right,
like
let's move
it.
on.
And then
Next.
they'll walk the
Next.
coaches out.
On
When
off
you
the
get fired,
plank.
You come off the couch and grab them.
Hey, it's CPL, so Jimmy's sitting there. Jimmy's like the prize,
Yeah.
right? You can fire your coach, but you have to hire Jimmy.
Yeah.
It gets better and better. He's sitting in the glass box, all lit and
Yes.
stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then when say, Borge, sorry, Bobby, it's been long enough. You're too successful. You're fired. And then suddenly all the confetti, fireworks, Jimmy descends from his box to become Borge coach.
And then to decide his salary, it's the money in like the Glaston enclosure, and he has, he has to grab all the money, and then that's his salary for the year.
Yes. This is the best. It'd be the best TV ever.
Fantastic
Put
television.
the CPL on the map.
Right.
Right,
It
we
would.
get global attention, like overseas, England. Have you seen what they're doing in Canada? This is progressive. This is incredible. This is the future of sports.
And then all the coaches who aren't selected have to join a podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
The
there'll be a space
losers.
here because Jimmy's now the Forge coach.
Yep, that's right.
All right, moving on. Is it Jimmy next? JC? I think it might be Jimmy next. Oh,
Yeah.
Yes.
Dan Wong in the
Dan
Costanza pose.
Costanza.
That was very Costanza-like.
Yes.
Okay, what we got here, Jimmy?
So this is wrong.
You did
like
send
to
it to
say-
me this way.
This is wrong.
Exactly how you sent it.
A time limit on VAR, meaning that I don't want to see VAR take so long, because I think it takes away from the moments of the game. It's too long. The referees walk over. They're taking 4 or 5 minutes before a decision's made. So that's what I was saying. I don't want to continue being so long VAR. I want a time limit on it where it says, okay, you got a minute to figure this out. And I don't understand why it ends up taking so long, especially on disallowed goals. It's a lot of time wasting for the players, for the fans. And I think those decisions need to be a lot quicker than what they are.
Sharms, in this summer of soccer, my memory is pretty short already. Didn't Euro do it really well? Wasn't it quicker and faster? And maybe the technology is caught up. In my brain, I remember you and I watching a match, and we went, "Wow, VAR was better, wasn't it?"
They had the semi-automatic, automated offside calls.
Yeah.
Right.
Which made a lot of sense, which the Premier League are going to bring in, but not until midway through the season. I don't know why. I don't know. The technology works, clearly. Bring it in.
It worked, and it worked that it was mentionable, like that we had spoken about it, that it was such a difference maker in the flow of the match because it was over so much quicker, right?
Yeah. I don't know why they're bringing it in midway through. It's just them doing it their own way, I guess. But it was better for sure. There was talk also last year, I think they actually announced it, that referees would be mic'd up and would announce to the crowd what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
That's been kiboshed by the referee association. They're not doing that this year.
And that's what they're doing in MLS, though, right? It was not that introduction to MLS.
Which only came in
here as well.
Sorry, Shams, which only came in halfway through this past season because of the CBA and the strike for the referees.
Oh, with the referees.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's why that was only brought in midway through. Okay. But I think it's good. But what VAR also is a thief of joy for the players, for their celebrations, but also for the fan experience for games where everything is muted or slightly reserved. It's not the exaltation. It's not the visceral, raw, emotional reaction, whether it's, you're dejected or whether you're celebrating your team. It's everything's just underneath kind of where it would normally be because you're worried about it being taken away from you.
That point is mute.
For that.
That point is mute.
That's right.
The thief of joy.
Well
I
done.
love that because that's 100% what it is. That to me is more than anything. I mean, the delays, it's all bullshit. It takes too long, 100%. But that, if I could pick one reason why I hate VAR, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
The muted celebrations. Although it's really funny when they aren't muted and when they're crazy celebrations and they go on, and then they look up and see the flags up or the referees go into the monitor. That is kind of amusing from a Schadenfreude, yeah. Schadenfreude standpoint, that's kind of cool. But overall, I hate it for that reason because I want to see the Ryan Giggs running down the field, twirling his shirt above his head, and then having sex with his brother's wife. I want to see that.
I want to see VAR intervene actually in that scenario.
Get
for
out of the box. Get out of the box. You are offside. Get out of the box.
Somebody emerges from the closet.
Out of the box, Ryan.
This is morally reprehensible. Yeah. I have to put a stop to this.
That's a handball.
So offside, man. That was so offside.
The hand was on the ball. Handball.
But was it ball to hand or hand to ball?
We have to amend the back end.
We're reinventing the game today, and it's better.
We really are. Who knew? Who knew?
All right, last one, JC. Let's get to it. And guess what? It's JC. Oh, there he is.
Oh, bravo.
Oops.
Oh, we'll miss him.
Sorry, I'm using that later.
I remember you.
You can still watch the EFL. You can search out.
I don't
will.
want to see.
All right,
I don't want to
JC.
see Dubs' search history on YouTube.
Oh, come on. It's just a little cherry on top of the sundae. It's not necessary to be a competent coach, but it's just a nice surprise to have that aesthetically pleasing face.
JC.
Oh,
Go.
Craig not being inducted into the Ipswich Hall of Fame. That's what I do not want to see this year. Double negative.
Now, is he not already in it? Is the one?
Well, I want to see him brought onto the field with fanfare on a white horse, because there are white horse for the, not our dark horse, but our light horse for the year. And showered with gifts and robes and, you know, riches, etc. I think that our boy Craig Forrest deserves that, and so that's what I don't not want to see.
See, Jimmy, I don't think Craig ever got a testimonial, did he, at Ipswich?
No, I don't think he did.
Which he was.
No, he
due.
didn't.
Did it not enough, which
He
is
didn't.
bullshit.
Yeah.
So I'm with you. He should be allowed to get back. So I don't want to not see it.
Right? Wrong?
Not a fan of the double negative.
I'm always
I'm-
confused
Yes.
with the double negative.
Yes, maybe. Okay.
Are there standards like within clubs in order to be inducted into the Hall of Fame? Is it a league thing? Or is it completely up to the club to do it?
I think it depends how shit the club is. Like Jimmy's on the Hall of Fame at TFC, for example.
Oh,
The Hall
right.
of
So
Fame.
standard, the bar's low.
That's a
Yeah.
Wall of Fame, not a Hall of Fame. Hall of
Sorry, yeah,
Fame
the
is
Wall of Fame.
Canada. Wall of Fame at TFC. Dumbasses.
Wow.
So you could be on there. You're the first signing, right? First
And a
testimony.
testimonial is 10 years at a club before you get it.
Is it 10?
It's 10
And
years.
usually the money goes, like nowadays, it goes to charity often because these guys make so much money. But lower leagues and different generations, it would go to the player, right?
Yeah, well, it can do. It's up to you what you decide, right?
Oh,
And
is
what your
Oh,
agreement,
so
what-
you
what
have
your
access to
agreement-
the money.
what your agreement is with the club.
Oh.
Yeah.
But also, we get to say goodbye to our YouTube watchers right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, YouTube watchers, thank you for joining us. Leave us comments and your thoughts on this year's Prem, and we'll get to them. And subscribe if you haven't already. So this will pop up every single day. Every day. I know I said pop up again, Dubs. I know I said that. Doesn't mean anything. You can't control
And we
yourself.
get
But
to
yeah,
promo
so yeah,
tomorrow's
thanks,
show
YouTube.
too, Sharms.
What's that?
We get to promo tomorrow's show too.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was going to let Dubs do it.
We will have 2 women's national team players on tomorrow, but it'll be recording later today and dropping on Sunday.
Yes. Exactamundo, Fonzie.
Internationals who are there in Paris on the ground amidst all the
Chaos?
What do we call it?
Drama?
Chaos? Drama? Yeah. The
All
kerfuffle?
Francais.
Kerfuffle.
I feel like
That's
kerfuffle isn't heavy enough,
No,
oh,
maybe not.
right?
No.
Scandal?
Scandal.
it
Definitely
is a scandal. Yeah.
Shithousery.
Yep.
That's good.
Shithousery.
Mm-hmm.
Coaching shithousery, 100%. So yeah,
Yeah.
so join us on Sunday for that. Although we might be dropping the pod earlier potentially. We've got to figure that out. Anyway, Sunday YouTube, you'll catch it, and it'll be very interesting. So thanks YouTube, and we'll see you next time.